cherish all the time you spend, you tuned in to. It's time again to cherish all the time you spend, you tuned in to. It's the number one podcast. The topics of discussion when we broadcast. So all them artificial man jokes, we do it natural from the concrete to a public standpoint. Real, wherever you're from, life is coexistence, but to know the real, you just gotta listen. Wherever you're from, life is coexistence, but to know the real, you just gotta listen.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the 52 Scott Podcast. I'm your host, K Money, and in the building with me, my co-host, Freddie G, Slash, and Comedian 96. Collectively, we are the Mind of Men. And you can find us on Twitter at 52 Scott Podcast, Instagram and Facebook, the 52 Scott Podcast. And if you're on YouTube, please don't forget to like and or subscribe. What's up, fellas? Welcome to another episode of True Tuesday. Today, man, I thought we'd talk about a serious topic and issue, and it's something that's plaguing America, believe it or not, and it's been going on for some time. But I think we need to bring awareness or prevention to suicide. Over the weekend, you know, I got a call from a friend of mine that's he kind of down bad, and you know, I'm glad he called me. You know, he reached out to me, and in his conversation, you know, he was sounding like he was ready to give up. You know, and I had never received a call like this here, but you know, when you get a call like this here, you have to take it serious.
Yeah, you have to.
And me knowing this guy, you know, our friendship, you know, this is a Navy brother of mine, so I know this fella pretty well, and he wasn't talking like his normal self,
right?
You know, so you know, I entertained the conversation, and we talked for about 3 hours, and you know, I finally got him to reconsider, thank God. But again, you know, it just put me in a funny mood, man, because I'd never, like I say, received a call like that, and again, you know, this is something that's happening all over the country, all over the world. You know, you never know what somebody's going through. Yeah. Because we hide things well, but you know, it's definitely important to talk to somebody. And like I say, I'm glad that he did reach out to me. Has anybody have you any of you guys ever received a call like that? You know, from somebody that you know that are close to, and then they were hollering for help or screaming for help. Or saying that they were ready to give up.
I've never got a call like that, man. So, but I can imagine the feeling of getting a call like that from somebody that you know personally.
Yeah.
Because you know it's serious.
Yeah.
So you have to take it serious too. So I can imagine what you had to do in order to get him, you know, to a level head, you know, area.
Yeah, and it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy, and I know part of it, you know, he had been drinking, so I was having to fight the fact that, you know, okay,
it was a little alcohol.
It was, and I think that contributed to him talking the way he was talking.
Right.
So, you know, I kept reminding him, you know, for one, you know, you're on this level, so you're really not talking sensible right now.
Yeah, you just
reminding him, because he was like, I'm not drunk, I haven't been drinking that type of shit. So he was in denial on that, but at the same time, like I say, I could tell he was drinking because he was taking swigs in the middle of the conversation.
He was talking.
Yeah, so you know it was a gimme.
Yeah,
and it reminded me of another partner of mine that passed away recently, and this is actually the reason this dude was feeling the way he was feeling, because of that previous death that we had both experienced about a year and a half ago. So you know, he was still mourning over this and blaming himself, which, you know, he had nothing to do with it, which is another thing, you know, I'm sitting there trying to convince him of.
Right.
But being, you know, on that level, it's hard to get through to people.
Yeah.
You know, but he I could tell he wasn't in his right mind totally, but he knew what he was doing. I feel like I don't want to contradict what I'm saying, but
he had mentally, he knew what he was doing.
When you had to talk with him, he's still here to this day.
Yeah.
I think it was just one of them situations where he was going through something at that time. But you being in the corner with him to be his friend, that was probably the best thing ever.
Well, he called him because he knew that's what he needed.
Right.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. So you being in this corner was like the best thing that you could have done.
That's what,
and that's probably a situation he went through and probably won't go through it again. Because everybody, you go through that one day where you just can't take it. I think when you lose somebody that's really close to you.
But drinking, when you're feeling, and I'm not gonna say he was drunk, but when you're inebriated, it's almost like a depressant, especially if you're feeling sorry for yourself. And I say,
right,
like I said earlier, he's not doing too good right now, in his life. So I think he was more or less feeling sorry for himself, as well as trying to blame himself for our partner that passed away. And I reminded him, I had a bad year last year. I lost 3 people, including this one guy that we both was talking about. So the alcohol played a huge factor, and I was trying to get him to understand that, and he admitted it himself that it was somewhat of an issue. But then he backdoored and said that he didn't have a problem. So
did he actually say he wanted to kill himself?
Yes, he said he had a 45 in his lap.
Wow,
and he was tired.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. So
so I'm curious to know. Did you ask him tired of what?
Yeah, I did, and this is where the crazy talk was coming in. He was more or less, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this shit, Kay. I'm tired of dealing with this. But he wouldn't clarify to where it was making sense to me.
Right.
And then again, he would go into conversations about, our mutual friend that had passed away, trying to make it seem as if this guy had committed suicide, which he actually passed away from a freak accident. He slipped, fell, hit his head, and went into a coma and never came out of it. So to sit here and blame yourself for this, it didn't make sense.
Right.
You couldn't do nothing about that man slipping. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
But he continued to want to blame himself, saying that I could have helped him, and I could have did this, that, and the other, and it had nothing to do with his death. So that's why I feel the alcohol played a huge factor on him wanting to blame himself for our mutual friend having this accident for whatever reason.
So it sounds like you say he was doing bad himself.
He's doing bad now.
So he's doing bad himself. Are you saying he's doing bad financially? Okay, and so he's doing bad financially. Did he go into detail about his finances, or was he just blaming it on the friend's death, the mutual friend's death?
He didn't go into detail, but me knowing him and just from previous conversations, I know his status. So again.
So it sounds to me like, okay, I'm really down on myself, but I just need something to blame it on.
Exactly, and it could be a combination of both. But again, when things are not going right for you, and you're on that drink, you get to feeling, like I say, you're depressed.
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah, we talked about this on a previous show when we were discussing mental health. And he's a veteran, like I said, so he suffers from PTSD.
Right.
And
what kind of work does he do on regular?
Well, that's just
part
it.
of financial.
He just recently lost a job.
Yeah. So look at that.
Yeah, I mean,
it's more to me. It's more depression.
Yeah.
Exactly. I agree.
Because if this age in our life, to us, your first thing you're gonna say is, where am I going in life? If you ain't got no
Nothing.
career, no job, nothing going on, that will, as a man,
knowing
that you are the provider, the sole provider. If I don't know his household situation, but if he's married,
well, no, he's single.
Yeah.
He pretty much his kids are grown. Mm-hmm. They both college graduates, which are things that I reminded him of. That he had every reason to live for, and stick his chest out for. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody can't say that they have 2 college graduates.
Exactly.
And he was a present father. So this, like I said, this wasn't him.
Raised his kids.
Yeah, he was there.
See, a part of me feels like, man, and I'm not downplaying people who reach out when they're going through something, who reach out for help. But part of me feels like that people who actually reach out for help don't actually want to commit suicide.
Right.
People who commit suicide don't tell nobody shit.
No. You know what they do?
Just do it.
They just go and do it. They don't tell nobody shit.
Yeah.
So part of me feels like, okay, I'm not downplaying that he didn't have the 45 in his lap, but things were going wrong in his life, and I just need somebody to vent to and to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, and honestly speaking, Freddie G, you hit the nail on the head, because that's exactly how I felt. I didn't feel that he was really gonna do this, but at the same time, I still have to take him serious.
Yeah,
because
what
he's saying,
what you said could have made a difference.
Yes.
Well,
because you could have went the other way and said, boy, you ain't gonna do nothing. And then he shot himself. Now the energy is on you.
Well, honestly speaking, man, like I said, I know this cat, so I didn't sugarcoat the motherfucking thing with him. I actually did tell him, man, look, I'm in Houston, ain't shit I can do. If you want to do it, I'm finna get off the phone.
Yeah.
But we didn't get off the phone. I kind of just pushed it.
Yeah, sometimes when people are talking like that, you know what? I'm finna share a story with you.
Okay.
I'm not gonna tell you this person. I'll tell y'all after the show who this person was. But so this person, drinks and do drugs, and I cared about this person dearly. Like I care about this person, right? And so one day this person was on a rant, tripping, and then that person said, "I ought to just kill myself." And so I got tired of hearing it because I didn't want to hear you talking like that.
He kept repeating himself for saying it?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just kill myself. No.
Yeah.
So I looked at him in his face and kind of did what you did, K-Money. I say, well, what's taking you so long?
Yeah.
I went in the kitchen and grabbed all of the knives and threw them on the living room floor. I say, pick one.
Yeah.
I say, pick one.
Yeah.
What you gonna do?
Don't sit there and talk about it. Gonna pick one because I felt like they were doing it for attention and they were under the influence. Now you very well could have been thinking about where your life is today,
Right.
but don't be talking like that. I don't want to hear that.
Exactly.
Nobody want to hear that.
And so I grabbed the knives out the kitchen and threw them on the floor and said, "What you waiting on?"
Yeah.
Now I didn't really mean it,
Right.
but I had to make a point. Stop talking like that.
Yeah, that's psychological.
Yeah, stop talking like that.
Yeah.
Now, of course, they didn't grab the knife,
No.
and
Y'all too, y'all got better. Cause I'm gonna tell you, it would not have went that way with me. They probably would have done it, and that's the thing I don't want on my mind. I actually throw them knives out there.
You know who to do that to.
Yeah,
You got to be careful.
Yeah,
You can't just say that to anybody.
You can't just
you
pick
got to
a
use
person.
good judgment.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, exactly. Because
Yeah,
I don't know what people's minds at, so that's not a chance I'm willing to take.
Well, I know this fella's
Y'all
not a
just-
weak-minded individual, so it's
Yeah,
not
you
that-
already knew him.
I took him serious at what he was saying, but I know this is he's not the type of fella that would do this type of shit.
Yeah,
Right.
You got to assess the situation. You just can't
Just
be
do that with everybody.
Doing that with everybody.
That is true.
Now I have, unfortunately had experience with two people that have committed suicide in my lifetime. There was a young fellow that ended up shooting himself, and firearms, believe it or not, is the most common way that people do commit suicide.
Yeah.
He was fresh out of high school. Actually, I believe he had joined the military, but he wasn't in long. And for whatever reason, came back home and just down on his luck, and the young man just ended his life, which I don't see how folks can do that. It's a cowardly act, in my opinion, and a selfish act.
It is.
And you're not thinking about your family members when you do things like
do
that,
that,
because they're gonna take it hard.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the second experience I had to deal with was a fellow that hung himself when I was in the Navy. Wow. And suffocating.
Suffocating.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Suffocate is like the second most common way to commit.
You suffocating on the word suffocate.
You suffocated that word.
I'm saying the word suffocate, but I'm picturing a different word that I wanted to say, which is why I was fucking up on it. But suffocate is the second most common way people that commit suicide, and that includes hanging. So I've had my fair share, man, and I'm not trying to experience any more.
Nah, I've had a few, but I think the one that really touched me, and this is actually my comedy story. So I don't know if y'all know, I started doing I did stand up in Dallas when I was in 2013. When I got back to Houston, it was easy in Dallas. And then I got back to Houston, I tried to link up with a fellow comedian, y'all might know him, what's his name? Ali Sadiq.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. And he, at the time, was at Dreams, and he hosted Dreams. And I walked in, I said, "Hey man, can I do a set?" He said, "Man, I don't use nobody but out of towners." So no shade on Ali. I love him still.
Right.
I love him, but that put a fire under me to make me, because I'm glad he told me no. His no made me go do what I'm doing now.
Right.
So the first time I did a stand up, and it went good. And then I had one in Houston, and it was my first cancer awareness. That was just to get people out, 'cause no one knew who I was. So I was like, well, okay, I'm gonna do a cancer awareness. I'm gonna try to get people out, and it was a great turnout. That night was like, you know what? I accomplished what I wanted, and I accomplished what I wanted, and I don't want to, do the cancer. I don't want to stand up anymore. But then after the show, Lil Darryl comes up to me and he says, "Hey man, someone just tried to. They were gonna commit suicide, but all I did was talk about a light. He had a light bill joke, and he had everybody rolling." But the guy went to Lil Darryl and said, "Hey, I was thinking about committing suicide because I didn't know how I was gonna pay my bills, but you had me laughing so hard that he didn't."
Yeah.
So I thought that was a moment that said, you should keep doing comedy because of that guy not committing suicide.
Yeah,
so I was like, if I could help
yeah.
one person, I could help a lot. So that's what made me continue to do comedy. If it wouldn't have been for that, I would have stopped. If I wouldn't have heard that story that night, I wouldn't have stopped comedy.
Yeah.
So after that, I've been doing it.
Man, you never know what somebody's going through, bro. So I mean,
That's true.
we definitely need to pay attention, to our loved ones and observe how they're acting, because the signs are there. If something is going wrong, especially if you know this person,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can see if they're clearly acting different than what you're used to, and that would be the first sign. And again, just listening and paying attention.
Right.
The rate of suicides is highest in middle-aged white men, believe it or not.
Yeah.
That's suicide,
That's
right?
suicide.
Yeah, because most black people don't commit suicide.
It got bad here in the last 3 years, especially during COVID. In the last 3 years, we've been committing suicide. If you look that up, it's been bad. We've been committing suicide.
Blacks?
Yeah,
Or
blacks.
just people in general?
Blacks.
Really?
But we've risen as far
Because
as
it wasn't always ever that big in our community.
We just
We wasn't committing suicide.
We wasn't committing
for nothing.
suicide,
I mean,
but
but you got to think about, and not to cut you off, but what you got to think about why we wasn't committing suicide, because everything that they going through to kill themselves for, we done lived through this several times over and over and over and over.
True. Facts.
Well, if you locked up in your house doing COVID with your wife, let me stop. Let me stop. Okay, it's not funny. I'm
but
sorry.
it's normally always some type of depression,
Yeah.
within that person about some sort of issue, something they going through is hard to cope with, stuff like that. But like you say, K-Money, it's best to listen to your family members and friends, because the signs be there.
Yeah, talk to them, man.
Yeah.
And try to get it out of them,
Yeah.
And if you're not able to get it out, have them or suggest they reach out to somebody else.
Exactly.
Yeah, just to piggyback on what Freddie G said, like he said, most people won't even tell you. They just gonna do it.
Right.
But another sign is they give their stuff away. They'll
Yeah.
give away everything they own. You be valued, man. You don't want this no more. You be tripping, and you be like, see, I seen that happen in the 7th grade. That happened. The guy gave away like his Atari, but we didn't know no better. But he ended up committing suicide. So that happened. That was in my apartment.
You say he
complex.
did?
Yeah, he killed himself. But he was giving all this stuff away. And then later, they told us suicide prevention, one of those classes. Most people, they give their stuff away before they.
Wow.
I'm curious on the numbers, right? Because to me, it seems like, and I don't know these numbers, to me, it seems like you have more youngsters committing suicide
Right.
than older individuals because of social media.
Well-
because they may have broken up with their girlfriend or boyfriend.
Most of them are ODing.
Yeah, that.
They be on
that's not.
pills
Some of
or
that's not
something.
suicide. That's accidental death.
That's
Yeah.
If they're
accidental.
they're ODing.
Well, but you know what? I hear it's a different name, but in reality, that's suicidal. These pills got something in it to kill
And why you taking so many?
Yeah, and I'm surprised that's not actually poisoning, which drug overdoses fall under that
poisoning, right.
classification.
Right.
But I'm surprised that it's not higher up there with firearm. Especially now with fentanyl taking over. I would think that
Anything
would be a lot higher.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, Freddie G, on numbers on the age ranges, in 2021, the suicide rates were higher among adults ages 25 to 34 years old. You know, and 75 to 84 years old, with rates highest among adults. With the rate highest among adults ages 85 years or older, younger groups have had consistently lower suicide rates than middle-aged and older adults. So, I mean, people are doing it, but again, it's middle-aged white men mostly.
Right.
Which I'm not gonna say that's nothing good about committing suicide. Yeah, exactly. We need to quit it, period, and stop it. For anybody out there that think that they may need help, you know, there is a suicide and crisis lifeline that you can reach by dialing 988 on any mobile phone.
Call them.
You know, there are counselors that are available 24/7. You know, so take advantage of that. Again, you know, get some professional help if you can't reach out to a family member or someone close that you feel you trust. But again, there are counselors out there. And one last thing before we go to our 52 Scott riders out there, if you guys have any suggestions on any topics that you'd like for us to talk about, hit us in our DM on IG or any of or YouTube. You know, let us know. Give us an idea on what y'all want us to talk about, you know, any of the days of the week, and we'll definitely cover that for you. All right, and last but not least, just a reminder to come out on November 11th for the 5th Annual Cancer Awareness Comedy Show, happening at Johnny Blue Grill and Seafood, 9755 Westheimer Road. Again, this is presented by the 52 Scott Podcast and Hardhead Entertainments. You got starring the Common Crew, a bunch of funny cats. You know, again, we had this show last year, and these guys wrecked it, and I expect them to do the same thing this year. So looking for to see a lot of y'all out there enjoying the show with us. Peace out. This concludes another True Tuesday episode, and be sure you tune in tomorrow for Women Wednesday with Freddie G. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter at 52 Scott Podcast, on Instagram and Facebook, the 52 Scott Podcast. And for all you YouTubers, don't forget to like and subscribe. And to all my 52 Scott faithfuls, it may be new to you, but if you heard it here, then you know it's true.